The courtroom was packed, every seat filled, every corner buzzing with tension. Cameras rolled, pens scratched against notepads, and the hum of anticipation swelled like thunder before a storm. Everyone had come expecting a showdown, but no one, and not even the most seasoned reporters could have predicted how the day would end, because on that day, a powerful judge named Edward Chen would cross a line so bold, so arrogant, that the very system he thought he controlled would turn on him. Judge Edward Chen was notorious. From the bench, he wielded authority like a weapon, silencing attorneys, mocking witnesses, and humiliating anyone who dared stand before him. His black robe had become less a symbol of justice and more a shield for his pride. That morning, he entered the courtroom with a smirk, already believing himself untouchable. But across from him sat Senator John Neely Kennedy, a man known not only for his sharp wit and Southern charm, but also for his unshakable defense of truth. The case at hand wasn't even about Kennedy directly. It was a hearing on judicial accountability, a routine inquiry into federal overreach. Kennedy was there to testify, offering insight as a member of the Senate Judiciary Committee. But Chen saw an opportunity. He despised Kennedy's plain-spoken style, the way he connected with ordinary people instead of bowing to the elite. To Chen, Kennedy was beneath him, a country lawyer from Louisiana who had somehow stumbled into power. From the first words, the judge's tone dripped with disdain. "Senator Kennedy," he sneered, leaning back in his chair, "this is a court of law, not a barnyard. Kindly restrain yourself from your folksy anecdotes. We deal with facts here, not bedtime stories for the ignorant." Gasps rippled through the room. The insult wasn't subtle, it was calculated, cruel, meant to draw blood. Kennedy's eyes narrowed, but he didn't raise his voice. Instead, he let the silence hang, heavy and cutting. Finally, he leaned into the microphone. "Judge Chen," he said slowly, his Southern drawl calm but firm, "my daddy taught me a long time ago that a man who has to insult others to prove he's smart ain't half as clever as he thinks." The room erupted with murmurs. Reporters scribbled furiously. Chen's face reddened, and instead of backing down, he doubled down. "This is my courtroom," he thundered. "You will show me respect, Senator, or I will hold you in contempt." Kennedy didn't flinch. "Respect, Judge, is earned. It ain't demanded, and from where I'm sitting, you're not wearing that robe to serve justice, you're wearing it to serve yourself." The air grew electric. Court officials exchanged nervous glances. The bailiffs shifted uneasily. Chen slammed his gavel so hard the sound echoed like a gunshot. "That's it," he roared. "You're out of order, Kennedy. I will not be mocked by a small-town politician who thinks sarcasm is substance." But before Kennedy could respond, another voice cut through the chaos. It came from the corner of the room, steady and authoritative. "Your Honor, it is you who are out of order." Everyone turned. The statement had come from the court's chief marshal, who had been observing the hearing under direct orders from the Judicial Oversight Committee. Unknown to Chen, complaints about his abuse of power had already reached Washington. This hearing wasn't just about accountability, it was about him. The marshal stepped forward, papers in hand. "Judge Edward Chen," he declared, "you are hereby removed from the bench under emergency authority, pending investigation into multiple counts of misconduct, abuse of power, and violation of judicial ethics." For the first time in his career, Chen looked stunned. His gavel slipped from his hand, clattering onto the desk. You can't do this," he stammered. "I am the law here." "No, sir," the marshal replied coldly. "You are subject to the law, just like the rest of us." Two bailiffs, a men who had once feared his wrath, stepped forward. Their hesitation was gone. They moved with purpose, placing handcuffs on the very man who had once barked orders at them. The crowd gasped as Judge Edward Chen, red-faced and sputtering, was escorted out of the courtroom like any common criminal. Cameras flashed, reporters shouted, the image would soon be broadcast across the nation. The arrogant judge who thought himself untouchable, dragged away in disgrace. Kennedy sat quietly, watching it all unfold. He didn't smile, didn't gloat. When the room settled, he leaned once more into the microphone. "Ladies and gentlemen," he said softly, "this is why we have checks and balances. Power without humility corrupts, and no onia is above the law." The room broke into applause, not the kind born of spectacle, but of relief. People felt justice had finally been served, not just for Kennedy, but for every lawyer, witness, and citizen Judge Chen had belittled over the years. In the days that followed, the story spread across every news network and social platform. Commentators marveled at Kennedy's composure, at his refusal to answer arrogance with anger. For many Americans, it became a reminder that real strength isn't about volume or intimidation, it's about integrity. As for Chen, he faced hearings, investigations, and ultimately, the loss of everything he thought made him powerful. Stripped of his robe, he was left to confront the truth he had long ignored: respect cannot be commanded, it must be earned. And in the end, the story carried a message bigger than the downfall of one man. It was a reminder that in America, no matter how high someone climbs, the law and the truth stand teller.